Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. I am Felrus. Thank you for joining me to play some Raid Shadow Legends today. Guys, today we are on the HellHades free-to-play account where I am absolutely kind of stunned and kind of sad by my progress. So I know I probably mentioned in the last one that we made a few errors, okay? The first thing that we should have done is clear out all the way to hard campaign, which I literally just did right before recording this video. That's the first thing we should have done, but that's not the first thing we did. The first thing we did is actually go over and farm in the event dungeon over here for pinpoint gear. And that's not what we should have done first. We should have gone and cleared hard campaign, but we didn't. And guys, I had to make another error to complete hard campaign. So after you clear out normal campaign and whatever, you should focus on making your first 60. And that's what I was doing until I got to the last stage of hard campaign. And then I switched and I 5-starred to Gore so that we could finish that. Now that has really set my progress back, guys. I do have some food here at 5 stars. We're just gonna need basically another epic in order to feed into either Wukong or to Gore here. One of those two is probably gonna be my first 60, but still, my progress has been extremely set back because I had to 5-star Tagore in order to complete hard campaign. On the other hand, we now have a Sacred Shard, and we are going to be using this Sacred Shard because I need another legendary champion on my account. All right, guys, so we have a progressive chance for a bunch of really good champions, all of which champions I could use. Now, let's take a look at what each of these guys do. We got the Cheshire Cat here, who has a A1 that absolutely slams. If he's under Veil or Perfect Veil, attacks all enemies, right? Places Perfect Veil on himself for 1 turn. That's a super strong A1. On the A2, attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit will decrease the enemy's speed by 1%, doesn't work against bosses, and increase his speed by 1% up to 10%. If this skill kills an enemy, places Perfect Veil on this champion and the ally with the lowest turn meter for 2 turns. But he doesn't really need that because of the A1, so it's kind of a meh A2, and then attacks all enemies on the A3 before attacking, places Perfect Veil, and increase attack on this champion for 2 turns, grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy. Honestly, the best part of his kit so far seems like the A1, which is just guaranteed placing him a Perfect Veil. This A3 here also seems like it's pretty good. Guys, his damage is based on attack and speed on the passive. If this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, turn meter fill effects are 30% more effective. Quite nice. Also, if this champion is under Veil or Perfect Veil, this champion's attacks will ignore 15 defense and inflict 15% more damage. That's all around on every skill, guys. Whenever this champion is about to receive a hit that would drop their HP below 20%, blocks the incoming damage and places block damage and Perfect Veil on this champion for 1 turn. So this is a nuker, a very good nuker. See what Duchess has. Now, I'd like Duchess, right? She has a revive all dead allies with 70% HP, places Veil and continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. Very nice. On the A2, places block debuffs and increase attack, and then places Veil on everybody for 1 turn. What's the Ascended skill? Oh, Perfect Veil on the Ascended skill. Okay. On the A1, attacks 1 enemy 2 times, places a shield equal to 10% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns on this champion and the ally with the lowest HP. Very nice. And then on the passive, decreases the damage taken by all allies from AoEs by 25%, 15% from bosses. I'd quite like a Duchess, guys. We also have all her books go into cooldowns, which is really sweet, except the books on the A1. But these cooldowns are pretty long, so she's a great one to book. So I'd like a Duchess, okay? I'd like a Feral as well. So Feral on the A3, increase resistance and Perfect Veil. Again, the books are going into cooldowns. That goes to a 4-turn cooldown. Now, this skill requires a lot of books, but he has a decreased accuracy and block buffs. Quite good in Hydra. If the target is a boss, will ignore 20% resistance. Also quite good in Hydra. And then on the A1, has a decreased speed. If the target is a boss, ignores 20% resistance. And then on the passive here, if an ally is under 2 or more buffs, increase their resistance by 50. If an ally is under 3 or more buffs, also increases their accuracy by 50. If an ally is under 4 or more buffs, also increases their damage dealt by 20%. If there are multiple champions on the team with the skill, only one will activate. So a damage boost passive, quite nice. Feral the Barkhorn, I think he'd be pretty good early game, although I think his end game utility is a little better. Rhymehide here. Let's take a look at Rhyme-Hide. I'd like a Rhyme-Hide. Also has a Perfect Veil with a shield on the A3. That has an AoE hit as well. Then a block debuffs and increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. That is also fantastic. Also attacks one enemy on the A1 with a decreased accuracy. And then when attack reflects 30% of the damage this champion receives back to the attacker, also has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. I would use that in arena. I think this champion would be a great one to have in live arena when we get there. And guys, finally Candrafon here, who's just a damage dealer, right? Perfect Veil, increase attack, increase speed, and increase damage on himself for 2 turns. It doesn't grant an extra turn, and it's on a 5-turn cooldown unbooked. And there's no books that go into it. That's pretty terrible. Then the A2 attacks all enemies extra turn if it kills an enemy, and then resets the cooldown of On the Hunt if it kills the enemy. I guess that's okay. It does hit hard. And then attacks 1 energy, places an extra hit if the target is under any buff on the A1. And then the passive, damage increases by 40% when attacking under Veil or Perfect Veil, receives 40% less damage while under Veil or Perfect Veil, also boosts his turn meter by 15% each time this champion receives damage under Veil or Perfect Veil, does not work if this champion is the only alive ally on the team, places Perfect Veil on this champion for 1 turn each time an enemy's turn meter is filled. This buff cannot be removed, so protected Perfect Veil. Honestly, the lack of an extra turn on this A3 makes this champion pretty bad in my opinion. So we're probably going to go for Rhyme-Hide or Duchess. We could go for the kitty, but I don't think we need him right now because of Wukong. So I think we either need to go with Duchess or Rhyme-Hide. And I actually think Rhyme-Hide might be a little better. We're going to get Sabbatha, probably, I hope. Let's actually take a look at where we are in Sabbatha's fragment summon here. We have 50 fragments of Sabbatha on the free-to-play, which is quite nice. So we will have a reviver there. It's just, do we want to invest the books, right? Let's take a look at Rhyme-Hide once again, see where these cooldowns go. Okay, so damage, and then a cooldown. That goes to a 4-turn cooldown. Okay, and then block debuffs and increase defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Oh, that's quite tempting. That is quite tempting. No turn meter fill. Does Duchess have a turn meter fill? Veil and continuous heal. Revives with 70% HP. No turn meter fill here either. Also, the block debuffs is on a 3-turn cooldown. So the question is, do we want block debuffs with increased attack and a revive? Or do we want block debuffs with increased defense and freeze? That's honestly a really hard question to answer. And for this account, what do we need? Yeah, you know what? We'll go for Duchess. We'll go for Duchess. I think that's better. Guys, 1 sacred and a dream. Let's go. Give me that Lego. Give me that Lego. It's not a Lego. Ah. Man, all my teammates have been pulling Legos recently on the HH free-to-play challenge. On the other hand, it is a trash epic, so that can be fed without much of a thought to make a 60, guys. All right, have we done everything we need to for CVC? We now have 7,000 CVC points. Quite nice, quite nice. That's the update, guys. We're pushing our clan boss damage, I suppose. We're not doing super well right now. Once again, I've had terrible luck with my shard pulls, so there's not really anything that we can do there. Man, this would be a lot more fun if I was a little bit more lucky in the beginning and if I had not made those mistakes. So guys, don't make the mistakes I did. Farm up your first 60 right away. Clear hard campaign right away. I'm still learning the proper methods of doing those things, but I'm sure other content creators have better advice than I do. See, once again, I'm approaching this as a learning experience, guys. If you want to start a new Raid Shadow Legends account, you can go ahead and use my link in the description below. You'll be rewarded with a free legendary champion, Corrado, so that you can start a little bit stronger off than I did, as well as 3 free epics as you progress your account, guys. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I have been Felrus, and I will see you in another video.